Here we go.
Admit people.
No, don't. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you can.
Okay.
Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. Pay attention to your pain. Reach out and find your comfort. Take a walk and play some music. Make the time to start the healing. Let the healing begin. Let the healing begin. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Look to the sky and breathe it in. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Feel the sunshine on your skin. And let your life resume again. And let your life resume again. For this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. And thank you for joining us here at the Zoom Sunday service of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco. I'm glad that you have found us as we have stayed connected throughout this time, doing this Sunday service and all of our other activities through Zoom. It's wonderful to see your faces, and if you see me periodically look off to the side, it's because I'm scrolling through the gallery to see all of you. Know that I am keeping all of you in my prayers, and that I look forward to seeing you again in person when we are able to do that. And right now we are shooting for the beginning of the year. One thing to note as we get started, and that is that you are coming on mute. That is so that you don't have to worry about any background noise. There's going to be 2 times when there's an exception to that, and that is when I ask for a volunteer to read the daily word. At that time, we will unmute whoever is going to read that for us. We'll also unmute you if you have a prayer request during our portion of the service where we ask for people to speak their prayers aloud if they would like to have their spiritual family stand with them and support them. So if you would like to do either or both of those things, you can either note that in the chat, or you can wave your hand at your web camera, and that way we'll know to call on you and ask you to unmute yourself. So for right now, just take a deep breath and lean back, whatever it is that you are in right now, whether that's a chair or a couch against your headboard. And let's just go within our inner sanctuary. We are always safe, guided, and at peace. And take this time to let go of any worries or concerns you might have, and use it to connect virtually to your spiritual family here and to the God of your understanding. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we celebrate the truth that our God is love, as expressed in Unity's foundation statement, which you're invited to say with me at home. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. So take another deep breath and gently release any cares of the day. The only thing that you need to do in this hour is to open yourself up to the love and goodness of the divine as you relax into the sacred time and space of Unity Spiritual Center. For almost 75 years now, we at Unity Spiritual Center have celebrated and honored people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many names for God, many faces of God, but only one God. Seeing through eyes of oneness and acknowledging our oneness, we know that God indwells all people and is expressed through each of us in unique, special, and individual ways. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. I am grabbing our worship candle right now, which we light every Sunday to give you a visual aid so that you can look at it and remember that you too have a divine flame within, that you are a divine flame, an individualized spark of God, and that God does the work of God does God's work in the world through the movements of your hands and your heart. So again, relax. Let's remember what our vision is here at Unity Spiritual Center. The opportunity for you and for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. So let's take time now to really get present as we listen to another beautiful song sung by Michael Hatfield.
When there's a question that must be answered, I will know, I will know. When I am lost, unsure where to go, I will know, I will know. There are no limits to my understanding. I will know, I will know. Infinite wisdom to make my decision. I will know, I will know. I am receptive, I am reassured. I will know, I will know. Trust in the guidance that God provides me. I will know, I will know. This is the prayer that I will remember. I will know, I will know. I can believe in a greater vision. I will know, I will know. I will know, I will know.
Thank you so much, Michael. If you enjoyed Michael's wonderful music, be sure to use your reaction buttons or give him a show of appreciation through your webcam. We are appreciative that Michael is here. He did not move. You may be seeing a different landscape behind him. That is not a new house, but he is actually in Eureka, and we appreciate that he came to join us, which was not an easy thing to do since he's not at his home setup, but he's always a professional and made sure that we would be able to have our wonderful music led by him. So as we continue to get comfortable and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. I'm going to scroll down and see if we have a volunteer, someone who would like to read the daily word today.
Kira is reading.
I also see Mary Kellogg. So Mary, would you unmute yourself and read the daily word for us?
Sure, unless Kira would like to read.
Kira, how do you feel about that? Are you wanting to read it right now? Okay, so then Mary is going to step aside so that we can hear from Kira. And Kira, I'm going to make you the spotlight video.
Fearless. I am fearless as I live authentically. In the past, I may have hidden my inner light, afraid to be myself. I may have tried to please others by conforming to someone else's idea of who I should be. I may have shrunk from an aspiration, fearing that I would fail in pursuit of my goal. I may have doubted the divine perfection at the core of my spiritual self, identifying with my perceived flaws and feeling small and inadequate. Today, I'm making a new choice. I choose to live fearlessly, drawing upon my faith to believe in myself, my imagination to envision my best life, and my understanding to know my divinity. Bold and brave, I am fearless as I live my life authentically, pursue my dreams, and express my divine nature. Be strong and bold, have no fear or dread, because it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Deuteronomy 31-6.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kira, for reading that. I think it's safe to say that you are the youngest member of our adult congregation, and we always appreciate all your contributions and how you participate with us. You are the best. So thank you so much. And now we are going to move into our time of prayer and healing. As you know, Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. And just a reminder that during this time of sheltering in place, you're always welcome to call in your prayer requests, to send it by email or by snail mail. Jerry is going to put that information in the chat for you. If you would like to write them down. I'm also seeing in the chat that people would like the lyrics to that, Michael. So we'll get that from you and send that out to people. And let's just take a moment now to hold the prayer requests of our community in our hearts. We may not know exactly what the needs are, who the people are who have been requesting prayer, but we know that they are members of our community. And so let's just take a moment to enfold them in our hearts, to surround them with our love, and to affirm with and for them that they are surrounded as well by divine love, enfolded in divine love. And that divine order is taking place in their lives. I think at this particular time in our state and in our national history, it also makes sense to include all of those who are being affected by the terrible wildfires in California. Let's just envision water, rain, liquid, using these terrible fires. Let's pray that each person affected by them knows that they are loved, knows that divine order is taking place, that divine presence is in their lives, even if they can't see it or understand it. Let's also pray for everyone in our country and around the world who has been affected by this virus that we all are so very aware of at this time. It's a hard thing, I think, and I'm going to talk about this more later in the morning. A hard thing to affirm divine order when we just don't see it. This is where our faith comes in. This is where our choices come in. Choose faith over fear. Today, as we move into our period of prayer, let us choose faith. And with that, I want to open it up to see if any of you have a prayer need that you might want to share with your spiritual family here. After everyone has shared who wants to, we will sing Your Prayer is My Prayer Too, which Michael is going to remind us of right now.
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too.
In the chat, we have a couple of prayers. One from Annette, who's asking for prayer for all of us, for the leadership of our country, for our community, and for our hearts, for the medical staff and firefighters, for all those who are affected, for the unification of our country and love and understanding with each other. And I know all of you share Annette's prayer.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Ron is asking for prayer for John and Tony. Some of you don't know John. He is a longtime member of our congregation and had to leave a couple of years ago as he underwent treatment for lymphoma. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, the lymphoma has returned, and so we definitely want to join together in holding John up and holding the high watch for John and affirming swift and complete healing for this beautiful person, our spiritual family.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Kira is praying to have love and peace with everyone. Always an important prayer.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Juan is asking for a prayer for his nephew Keith, who is struggling with issues of health, addiction, housing, and finances.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Helen is asking for prayers for healing and support for her brother, who is recovering from surgery for prostate cancer.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Marcy is asking for prayers for President Donald Trump and all those that are suffering with the COVID virus. May our country reflect on the severity and span of this illness. May we be guided and directed to walk this world more Christ-like.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Kathy is asking for prayers for the full recovery from a stroke for her neighbor, Faye.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Ivy is sending prayers that we find the warrior in ourselves and in others to get through these tough times. Praying for blessings and healings for all.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Mary is asking for prayers to live courageously and embrace the fearlessness of the beautiful daily word affirmation that Kira read today.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Kathy is praying for or asking for prayers for her son's family who is struggling with health and financial issues.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
And Rosa is asking for prayers for her close friend Barbara, who is in the hospitals for severe anemia, and also for her sister, who has a lot of pain in her back and legs.
Your prayer is my prayer too.
Those are all the prayers in the chat. I'm going to scroll down real quickly to see if there's anyone who has an additional prayer that they'd like to speak aloud to their spiritual family here. Or anyone else who'd like us to pray with them for them? So we also have a time in our period of prayer. We share the blessings of our lives, and we share the things that we're thankful for, grateful for, feel particularly blessed by. If there's something that you would like to share with your spiritual family so that we can celebrate with you, this is the time to do that. Any blessings you want to report?
Thank Reverend Maggie for being our Unity leader and teacher for more than 10 years and being here with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Ruben.
Well, I'm blessed to be here in Eureka celebrating the birthday of #1 birthday of Evie.
So if you look in the chat, you'll see some blessings coming in that Shirley is feeling blessed that her COVID test was negative. Marcy is grateful that Lynn and Marcy will be visiting her parents on Thursday and spending the weekend with them. That is wonderful. And the true blessing of good health, I think we all definitely are grateful for that. Grateful to have a new nephew, Ethel is. And Michael, I missed who is Evie?
Evie is my niece.
Oh,
A
wonderful.
grand niece, I should say.
Awesome. And we're all feeling grateful for our Unity Center, for our health, love, and family. Beautiful.
I'm also grateful looking out the window and seeing 2 young girls do cartwheels on the streets.
That's awesome. Our first roving reporter has reported seeing 2 girls doing cartwheels out the window. That's a wonderful image to bring to all of us right now. That beautiful image of joy. Thank you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our nation, and around the world. We give thanks for the knowledge that when we ask, it will be given to us. When we seek, we will find. When we knock, the door will be opened to us. We give thanks for the feelings of peace, of comfort, of connection that we're able to feel right now, even though we're not together in person. I think we all are sort of surprised and delighted by the fact that we can feel so connected, even virtually. And we affirm that always and in all ways, no matter what appearances may be, the divine is always present. That divine order is always taking place. And that divine love is always surrounding and enfolding each one of us. And so it is. Amen.
Just a little bit of trust, don't worry. Things will fall in place if you let them go. Just a little bit of trust, don't hurry. You'll learn all you need to learn when it's time to know. Every bit of knowledge is a blessing to behold. Listen to your teacher, it shall return fourfold. If there is uncertainty, take a moment to digest. Once you can detach yourself and you can put your mind at rest. Just a little bit of trust, and don't worry. Things will fall in place if you let them go. Just a little bit of trust, don't hurry. You'll learn all you need to learn when it's time to know. What you say may not be what you might expect. A little trick that plays upon the brain. With a tiny touch of confidence, you will be correct, and your sense of humor will remain. Just a little bit of trust, don't worry. Things will fall in place if you let them go. Just a little bit of trust, don't hurry. You'll learn all you need to learn when it's time to know. It all fits together, the order does exist. You'll see it, you will feel it when it's time. Listen to the silence, doors must be dismissed. Look for beauty, truth, and wisdom, and right. With a little bit of trust, don't worry. Things will fall in place if you let them go. Just a little bit of trust, don't hurry. You'll learn all you need to learn when it's time to know. You'll learn all you need to learn when it's time to know.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael. I can tell Michael did his reading for the day. Because
I
people-
did do my research.
I can see that. That is awesome. He has been looking at the way of the teacher, which is what we're going to be talking about today. We are, as you know, working from this book, The Fourfold Way, and it's the last quarter of the year, and it's the last quarter of focus in this book. We're going to be looking at the way of the teacher, and you will soon find out why Michael's song was not only wonderful and uplifting, but also so on point to what we're talking about today. But now that we've been at, for those of you who know how to drive a standard, right? We were at fifth gear, and now we're going to go back down to first because I have a poem to open up this lesson with that's a little bit more somber. This is the hour of lead, remembered if outlived, as freezing persons recollect the snow. First chill, then stupor, then the letting go. Kind of a downer, right? Kind of a tough poem. And you might be interested in knowing that that is the last stanza of a poem that was written by Emily Dickinson. It is a poem about grief, and it was written in 1862 during the Civil War. And what's interestingly, as you can tell in that first line, this is the hour of lead, that it's contrasting movement, the movement of time, with lead, which of course is heavy and hard to move. And I think it still speaks to us today, even though it was written 140, let's see, what is my math? You do the math, but it still speaks to us today, doesn't it? Especially during this time in our lives, right? Because whether or not we are grieving the loss of a person, and many people around the world are, people who have been victim to this virus, we are all grieving the loss of the world and our lives as we once knew them. We are more than 6 months now into this pandemic and sheltering in place with no clear end in sight. And just in this week, which seems hard to believe that it's just been a week, Scott said, yeah, the debate was this week. I'm like, it was? Because it just seems like so much has happened in the course of, 6 days. We not only saw the most shocking presidential debate ever aired for its lack of civility, courtesy, and dignity, but also the diagnosis of the US president, first lady, and numerous other government officials as having the disease that has caused our world to shut down. So no doubt we can relate, at least in some part, to feeling first chill, then stupor, then the letting go. Or maybe we haven't been able to let go yet, which is why learning about the way of the teacher in this final quarter of 2020 will be interesting and hopefully helpful. That Emily Dickinson poem is found in the teacher chapter of the book that we've been studying this year, The Fourfold Way, Walking the Paths of the Warrior, Teacher, Healer, and Visionary, by cultural anthropologist, and as you know, my former teacher and mentor, the late Angelus Ariam. Now, as you know, if you've been at a Sunday service in 2020 before, and I think all of you have, I chose this book because the election year, when I was looking at it this time last year, the election year of 2020 seemed like a very good year to be studying the archetypes of the warrior or leader, another word for warrior, the teacher, the healer, and the visionary. And again, I have to say that I have been amazed at how perfectly this focus has dovetailed with events in our country and our world, events that none of us could have ever foreseen. Now, the archetype of the teacher is about, as you might guess, wisdom, both traditional and non-traditional forms of learning. The fundamental principle of the teacher is to be open to outcome, not attached to outcome. As Angelus writes, the teacher has wisdom, teaches trust, and understands the need for detachment. She goes on to say that the way of the teacher is a practice in trust. Trust is the container out of which the qualities of wisdom grow. Clarity, objectivity, discernment, and detachment. Wisdom is at work when we are open to all options. Now, perhaps like me, you might struggle a little bit at hearing that. Surely we're living in a time when we can't be detached, when we need to have a clear option, not be open to all options. Things just seem so vitally crucial to get right this year, particularly now, as we move toward an election that opponents on both sides have called the most important election of our lifetime. How can we be detached? How can we trust? How can we possibly be open to all options? Now, Angelus writes that indeed trust can be a difficult skill to learn, and I would imagine that if you're, human and alive, you would agree with that statement. And she examines these natural feelings that we all have by reminding us of the trickster archetype that's found in many shamanic traditions. The trickster serves as a teacher because it shocks people into seeing their attachments and their habitual patterns. Tricksters typically present surprises and the unexpected as a way of waking people out of their routines. Would you not agree that we have all been wakened out of our routines? And in this chapter, she quotes a book called Synchronicity, Science, Myth, and the Trickster by Alan Combs and Mark Holland, who wrote this about the trickster. The trickster is the quintessential master of boundaries and transitions. It is by this mastery that he surprises mundane reality with the unexpected and the miraculous. I think we would all agree that the trickster has come out in full force in 2020, right? Our mundane reality has certainly been surprised with the unexpected, and we hope will be with the miraculous. And collectively, we have all been put in the same boat. This is nothing that we can control other than following scientific guidelines to wear masks and practice that social distancing, but not even those may be complete fail-safes. But here's what this time can give us, according to Angelus. The opposite of trusting in the unexpected is trying to control the uncontrollable. Clearly an impossible task. Shamanic societies recognize that an individual who has difficulty with surprises or the unexpected has attachments, fixed perspectives, and a strong need for control. When we are attached, we often become controlling and rigid. The trickster figure reminds us to become more resilient and objective. So collectively, we are getting a universal lesson in loosening our attachments, fixed perspectives, and strong need for control. We are having to trust and become more comfortable with states of not knowing. We are having to be open to outcome. And we are all learning this curriculum of the way of the teacher together. Now let's take a look at this idea of detachment. As Angelus writes, most Westerners equate the word detachment with not caring, and that's not what we're talking about here. Linguistically, Angelus writes, the word detachment is most often defined as the capacity to care deeply from an objective place. So when we talk about detachment in this context, we are talking about non-attachment, which many of you will recognize as a spiritual principle, non-attachment, which is letting go, and if we can, maintaining a sense of humor. Why do we want to do this? Because when we are detached, we are able to calmly observe our reactions to situations and not get pulled into an emotional position. We demonstrate our own capacity to care deeply from an objective place. And again, as Angelus reminds us, the majority of spiritual traditions address the theme of detachment. But note the difference between acceptance and resignation. They are not the same. Acceptance is not the same as resignation. So in other words, can we accept the experience as it is and be creative with it, rather than be resigned or fatalistic about it? That is the razor's edge that we're looking at. Acceptance, she writes, is an important part of detachment. The feeling of resignation is always a sign of the presence of attachment. So this is a lot to take in, particularly when we are looking at scenarios in our world that we just couldn't have imagined. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to be exploring the tools of the teacher and talk more about how to walk the way of the teacher. But for now, let's just reflect on this principle of being open to outcome, not attached to outcome, to trusting. Again, there may be a part of you that resists that idea, that might think, I can't be open to outcome because the outcome must be this particular way or we're all doomed. Did anyone find themselves thinking that as I started outlining the way of the teacher? Very natural reaction to have given all that's going on. Because indeed, not only does so much seem to be at stake, but it is at stake. We truly are in a life or death situation of global pandemic, of economic uncertainty, of democratic, and I mean that with a small d, of democratic fragility. How can we possibly not be attached, given all that's going on in our world? And what came to me, and some of you are familiar with it, is that Zen story. The Zen story that goes along the lines of, you'll hear it in different iterations, but the idea is that there's a man whose horse runs away, and his neighbors say, oh my gosh, that's so bad, that's bad news. And the neighbor says, the man says, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And then they find out that the army comes through and is taking away everybody's horses. And the son comes home and breaks his leg. And the neighbors say, oh, that's so bad that the son broke his leg. And the person says, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And it turns out that all the sons, all the young men of the village are being gathered to go to war. The idea is that we think we know if something's good or bad, that if something happening should be happening or shouldn't be happening. And what that Zen story tells us or reminds us is that we don't always know. We don't always know. So when we think about this idea of non-attachment, let's remember that all-important question that Angelus also gave us, with this chapter. Can we accept the experience as it is and then be creative with it, rather than be resigned and fatalistic about it? Can we trust? And of course, that's the ultimate question of our faith, right? Of our life. Can we trust? I know you've heard me use it before, but Albert Einstein's quotation is so pertinent now. Can we trust that we live in a benevolent universe? And depending on your answer to that question, you will experience events according to that which you think. So I think, and I'm grappling with this too, that the answer lies in working toward the good you wish to see in the world. You know, we're not supposed to just passively accept things. We do have opinions. We do see things that need tending. So as responsible global citizens, as responsible spiritual citizens, and I see Ethel's comment that it's a challenge. It sure is. I totally agree. It's a challenge for me too. But I think that we're to continue working toward the change we wish to see in the world and trust in divine order, as we say here every Sunday, that we guard against becoming so rigid and controlling that we close ourselves off from hearing or expressing wisdom. Now I want to leave you with a prayer, and I think I shared this with people maybe during the book club or one of our daily word readings this week. I remember one time asking Angelus, or being in the presence of Angelus, when somebody asked what her favorite prayer was. And she said, "Thy will be done. Thy will be done." I think it can be a useful one to hold on to when we're trying to remember that there is a power greater than ourselves, that there is a divine matrix in which we exist. We too, as we say every Sunday, are divine. We have parts to play. But I think sometimes it can help us in this process of knowing what is ours to do, to lift our eyes, to raise our consciousness, and to affirm that there is a power greater than ourselves, and to affirm that even, as we say every Sunday, even when we can't see it, divine order is taking place in each of our lives. That is something that we can trust even when it doesn't look that way. We'll continue this exploration. But for now, let us affirm, and so it is. Amen. So I'm going to get a sip of water. As we spend some time in a guided meditation. Some of you may not know that with each of these archetypes, there is a recommended form of meditation and an instrument with which to conduct that meditation. And the meditation tool of the teacher is sticks. These are click sticks that I actually got in Australia. And as you can see, they have this beautiful Aboriginal pattern on them. But I thought it might be a little hard going when so many of our nerves are feeling afraid to do a meditation totally with sticks. So I am going to present you with this beautiful background music of rain sticks. It's going to be a little more calming and soothing as we go within, just to reflect on a few questions. So I want to invite you to lean back again, wherever you are, against a couch, against a chair, or a headboard. And to take a few slow, deep breaths. To feel yourself being held by that chair, that bed, that couch. And to imagine that you're being held by the divine, that you do dwell in a divine matrix in which you are always held, in which you are being held down. And so I'm going to leave you or bring you to 4 different questions that come out of Angelus's book in the section on the teacher, just to begin thinking about some of the material that we talked about today. So the first question is, who are the trickster figures in my life who have taught me about flexibility and have revealed my patterns of positionality, judgment, and control? Who are the trickster figures in my life? Who has taught me that I need to be more flexible? Who has shown me that I can go into patterns of taking a position, of judging, of wanting to control things? Sometimes those trickster figures can be difficult to embrace. And it's a wise practice to remember that they help us in our spiritual growth. Who's been a trickster figure? And the next question is, what wake-up calls have I experienced? And the idea behind this question is, when have I been awakened to a different position, to a different perspective? What things have happened in my life to wake me up to a more mature or deeper way of living? What wake-up calls have I experienced? And related to that, how did I become aware of or awaken to limiting patterns that I have? I might have been awakened by a trickster, but maybe something else in my life occurred to help me become aware of limiting patterns, awaken to those limiting patterns that I have. So just explore how you've awakened to limiting powers, limiting patterns that you have in your life that you wanted to break out of. And thinking about this idea of attachment versus non-attachment, just review, what attachments do I find in my personal life? What attachments do I find in my personal life? Ways in which you want something to be a certain way, or people to be a certain way. And you can expand that if you're still in the work world. What attachments do I find in my professional life? What are you attached to in your professional life? And finally, and a question that won't be answered most likely today, what attachments do I find in my spiritual life? What attachments do I find in my spiritual life? I think that's why that Zen story is so helpful, isn't it? Because it really shows us that we all have attachments to how we think things should be, and even perhaps how we think our lives should be if we're good spiritual people. So just take time to reflect on what attachments you might have in your spiritual life. And know as you listen to this beautiful music that these are all questions you can come back to. Know that you are not alone in these explorations. That we as a human race are really in the classroom, in this global classroom we're having to reflect on and relearn many things. Know that as we say when we start our services, that you are important, your life is important, that we need your gifts and your talents. We need your contribution because the world is a better place because you're here. And may we acknowledge each other for the ways in which we're staying strong, the ways in which we're going within and passing through these uncharted times. And knowing that you can return to this beautiful inner sanctuary of yours at any time. Anytime you need peace, you need to fill up with wisdom, knowing that that's as close to you as your next breath. Let us begin now to move our physical bodies, our fingers, our feet. And when we're ready, coming back to waking consciousness and opening our eyes. So I'm putting it on gallery view just to check in on all of you. Everybody doing okay? These are deep questions we're in the midst of. But we are okay. Let me affirm that for all of us, because we are at Unity Spiritual Center, and at Unity Spiritual Center, we are an ocean of love. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are creative, joy-filled, spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we will continue to experience as we get together in community following our service. Let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. We did hear you. We have made a request of our web designer to put a donate button front and center on our homepage. So when you visit our website in the future, you will see it as the first thing you're going to see as you access it. For right now, Jerry is putting in the chat the direct link to our donate page. So if you would like to give online, that is your immediate way of doing so by clicking that link. You're also welcome to send in a check. Marcy's made a slide where you've got our mailing address, and also you are welcome if you want to put it in person, give it to us in person, which has happened. We've got a mail slot on our front door that you can stick it through. So let's take time now to bless our tithes and our love offerings, holding them perhaps physically in our hands, holding them definitely metaphysically in our hearts as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
All right, for today's tune, this is in honor of the button, okay? So here we go. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Share some of your time, give what you got. Dig into your pockets, there's more than you thought. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Everybody's got issues with the money and time. We all hang on to every minute and dime. Let's do like Solomon and slice it in two. Here's 30 seconds and a nickel for you. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Share some of your time, give what you got. Dig into your pockets, there's more than you thought. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Just 2 minutes can change your tune. Take a moment to listen and do it real soon. For somebody's crying just to be heard. Pay a little attention, they'll sing like a bird. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Share some of your time, give what you got. Dig into your pockets, there's more than you thought. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. So if you're feeling just a tiny bit broke, just remember the words of which Jesus spoke. Can't get into heaven if you're a rich man, so lighten your load just as soon as you can. Push the button. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Share some of your time, give what you got. Dig into your pockets, there's more than you thought. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Share some of your time, give what you got. Dig into your pockets, there's more than you thought. Every little bit helps, adds up to a lot. Push that button.
Thank you, Michael. Like that. Push that button. That is great.
Fun with that.
Oh, and we are, as I wrote in the chat, we are so appreciative of your financial gifts and tithes during this time. As you know, our expenses continue. So thank you so much for supporting your spiritual center. And let us bless our tithes and love offerings with this beautiful prayer that we say every Sunday. Spirit of the living God, bless the acts of our hands, our minds, our hearts. May everything offered here at Unity Spiritual Center be a reflection of all that is good within us. Grant us the courage to patiently listen for the stirring of your presence. Enliven our spirits with humor. Fill us with reverence for one another and gratitude for our diversity. May unity, beauty, and truth be the fruit of all we do. And so it is. Amen. So just a few announcements for you. One is that we are having our blessing of the animals directly following this service. So for those of you who've joined us for our hospitality hour before, just stay on this link. But this time for our blessing of the animals, bring your animal. Or if you don't have an animal handy, bring photos of your animals, and we will do a collective blessing of them today, which is October 4th, St. Francis's feast day. Who not only is important because of his example of loving the other living creatures in our midst, but he's also, our city was named after St. Francis. So come join us for the blessing of the animals. We are in our book study right now. We're about a third of the way in, and we're finding it such relevant material for what we're going through today, meaning, today's world. I know that not everybody can make that time. So please do know that we will put you together with a study group if you would like to look at the book with others. Transitions by William Bridges is what we're focusing on. Let's see. We continue to do our daily word meditation on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon. That uses the old link that you will find in our e-letter that I send out every Wednesday. We're also on YouTube. We have a lot of different offerings that you can access on our YouTube channel. Just do a search for Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco if you don't already subscribe. And again, if you'd like to be a buddy, I've had a number of people volunteer to take on in the sense of companion, tend a member of our community who's not able to attend these Zoom meetings. Please let me know. I know that Ethel has taken on the privilege and pleasure of reaching out to the Mucalos as well as Betsy Ford. There are other people who are homebound, and if you'd like to be a buddy, please let me know, and I'll start continue with the assigning of people. And I think that's all, except we certainly want to bless our children. So let me see if there are any kids to bless. I see Josephine and Ruben's head turned to the side, so there they are. All right. So let me see. I know Annette's on, and see if Alex is too. Let's see here. There's Alex. I see you. Boy, you're getting so big. I can't even believe how big you are. Oh, and I see Ivy's got her son. And Ivy, remind us of your son's name.
Rowan.
Roland. Awesome. So we've got Roland, Alex, Alonzo, Santiago. Anybody else? Excellent. So, and we have Kira's dog, but we'll bless her dog in a few minutes. For right now, let's bless our children. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things. So let us sing.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
So as we go out into this day and into our week, may we remember that perhaps one of the deepest spiritual practices of our lifetimes is learning to trust. So may we find new ways to place ourselves in the presence of God, to rest in the divine matrix and know that we are being held. May we remember that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. And all is well. Thank you, God. Thank all of you for joining us. We are going to reconvene for the blessing of the animals in just 3 minutes. So for right now, grab a cup of coffee. Are you signing off, Michael?
No, I'm actually going to do a little song before I do.
Lovely. All right. So grab your animals, grab pictures of your animals. We'll see you in about 3 minutes.